everyone, and welcome to Let's Print, a show where I try teaching you guys how to print out all your favorite figurines. Today, we're going to try to print out Rias from High School DxD. My name is Luis, and you're watching Anime and Other Stuff.
So we're going to be printing this figurine of Rias Gremory from the anime High School DxD. This model was done by Pink Studio. You can find this on cgtrader.com, or if you look in the description down below, I actually have the link for you guys to go to this model. This model cost $18.90. However, when I bought this model, I actually bought this while it was on sale for, I think, $16. Now, I bought this because my followers on my TikTok account requested to see a figurine of her get printed, and so I thought might as well make a YouTube video out of it too. So now let's go ahead and preview the model. So it does look like that there is two different versions. So we have one in her iconic schoolgirl's outfit, and then the other one in her bikini. And oh, whoop, okay, whoop, dang, okay. I was I was not expecting there to be a not safe for work model in that picture too. Oh man, I gotta edit that part out. But yeah, it does look like, from what I can tell you, it does look like there's a lot of parts in there. And yeah, so it essentially, I think you're getting three different models. So schoolgirl, bikini, and a not safe for work model. Okay, now let's go ahead and download this file.
So while the file is downloading, I want to go over my setup with you guys. For today's print, I'll be rocking with Toko Yatogami. She's an Ender 3 Pro printer from Creality. She has been slightly upgraded though. Installed are the all-metal aluminum extruder feeder drive with Capricorn tubing, upgraded bed springs, a Creality PEI sheet, and a Bridgestreet Tech SKR Mini E3 version 1.2. I also calibrated the extruder for more accurate flow. I will be using a 0.4mm nozzle for this print.
And that is it. That is basically my setup. Every part that I have on my printer is pretty easy for you to install if you're beginning at 3D printing. The motherboard though, you might need to actually look up to get some help in order to install that, but it's fairly easy for the most part. Now let's go back to the computer and double check to see if the download has finished.
Okay, so we are back at the computer. We're gonna go ahead and double check to make sure our file has downloaded, and it actually did look like it finished downloading. So let's go ahead and check it out. So, this came in as a zip folder, more specifically a RAR folder. And so basically what I'm going to go ahead and do is right click it and I'm going to extract it here. How I have it set up on my computer is that on my documents I have a 3D printing file with all my models set up, and I kind of try my best to organize it as best as I can. And so since Rias Gremory is an anime character, she's in the anime file. And where did I put her? Ah, here we go. So Rias Gremory, High School DxD, click on that, and that's where I have the files stored. So right now I'm going to go ahead and extract the files here. And then I'm actually going to do a separate folder, and I'm going to put STL for STL files. And I'm actually going to do another one for the G code. So G code. And then I'm actually going to drag the STL files that I got into the STL folder. That way I keep everything organized for the most part. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and jump on Cura, and we're going to go ahead and orientate the models accordingly. So like anything that is flat, like her base, I'm going to print flat. In the case of her feet, I ended up printing them in a vertical position and on a raft. Same thing with her legs, although her legs was a little bit harder. As for her skirt, I ended up printing her skirt upside down so that the points on her skirt were away from the build plate. As for her top, I ended up printing them upright, but instead of using tree supports, I used normal supports to support her top. As for her face, I ended up printing her face with her chin to the build plate. Now, her hair was actually quite difficult. I ended up having to print her bangs separate from the back of her hair. Her bangs came out pretty good, actually, but I had to send her back of her hair to Mesh Mixer so that I can slice them into pieces so that it was easier for my printer to print. So there's 3 separate pieces for the back of her hair, and I had to slice all of them in half. So in total, I ended up making 6 parts for the back of her hair that when they finished printing, I glued them together. I also had a lot of problems printing out her hands initially, so I also had to throw them into Mesh Mixer to cut them in half as well. And then now, when I was slicing the model, I ended up slicing the model to 130% scale. So make sure that when you are scaling your model, you scale all the parts accordingly. Double and triple check to make sure that you got the right scale going, because sometimes when you print them, you can actually print at the wrong scale and not even think about it. And the type of filament I'm going to use for this print is going to be by Ziro, and it's going to be their gray PLA filament. Okay, so we got the printer all set up and it's ready to go. So let's start this print. And there we have it. We have Rias Gremory from High School DxD finally put together and completed. And here are my final thoughts. So overall, I really enjoy this model. I think it was a really well-crafted model. If you actually, when you're printing it, pay attention to the details of it, you'll be very surprised with how much work the modeler put into this one. My only gripe of this print would probably be the filament that I use, not the model itself. Just because the joints, it looked very jagged when I was putting them together. You could easily fix it by prepping it, sanding it down, put some filler in there if you're planning on painting it. However, I'm not. The other thing that I actually had a hard time printing was probably the one piece that you see purple in the whole print. That specific part of her hair kept failing over and over again, that I had to use a different printer and a different filament in order to get that to print correctly. But my favorite part of the model is the curl on her hair. I mean, for her bangs, it came out perfectly. I am super happy with the final results.
And there you have it. If you guys have any comments, any questions, any suggestions, or any recommendations, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. And then, also, if you like what I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to crank out as many videos as I can from here on out. And I want you to stay tuned for the next figurine that I'm going to print. Until next time, signing off.